All right, everybody, welcome to part 3 of this video series. If you're not familiar with what we're doing here, I'll try to put a link to the first video in the description, and I'll put one in the video itself too. But basically, this is a $500 truck I picked up, and we are trying to turn it into a viable work vehicle. I was fully intending for this video to be tearing into the brake system and getting the brakes to work, but in moving the truck from there to here, the brakes magically started working again. But one thing that I did notice last time I was driving it around in part 2 is that the glow plugs were clicking on and off incessantly. And I guess I didn't realize how big of an issue that was until I started doing some more research. Apparently, if those glow plugs keep turning on and off and getting hot, they can actually swell and get stuck. So in this video, part 3, we're going to be doing kind of a glow plug system overhaul. So I've got a new set of glow plugs we're going to put in. I've got the parts to put in a bypass switch on the dashboard, so that we can kind of delete the glow plug controller, because I think that that's what the issue is. And then I also picked up a new relay because they're cheap. So yeah. All right, first things first, I'm gonna take the air cleaner off and get lube sprayed down in all of these glow plug holes, because I guess they can be kind of a bear to get out. All right, let's do it. One thing that I forgot to do was tabulate what we were in terms of cost. At the end of part 2, I believe we were at like $1,150 total into this project. And I don't think I really spent more than $100 in parts, but I will add all that up for you guys at the end of this video when I've had a chance to look at how much I've spent on everything. Alright, like I said, first things first, I'm going to spray this PB blaster in there, get it soaking. That one looks like it's going to be hard to get to. While those plugs are soaking, I am going to work on getting this relay out, just because it's something easy. There you go. There might not even be anything wrong with this, but like I said, pretty cheap insurance to get these things fixed. Here's the new one. Looks pretty much the same. Now, when I do the bypass switch, this is the wire that comes from the glow plug controller, which is right back there. If you guys will remember from part 1, that thing was actually unplugged, which is maybe like a little clue as to the state that it was in. Yeah. All right, there you go. Glow plug relay done. It's always nice to start the morning off with a little success before diving into whatever we're gonna get into here. So here's the new set of plugs that I bought. These are the Motorcraft ZD1As. They've got the spade terminal on them. Yeah, we're just gonna go through these glow plugs one at a time and replace them. So hopefully that penetrating oil's had enough time to sit in there, and we can just go ahead and jump right into this first one. I don't know if you guys remember from part 1, but the rats have kind of had a field day on this wiring harness, and I didn't plan on fixing that today, but at some point I'm going to need to. So these glow plugs actually look pretty darn good. There's not even a whole lot of carbon buildup on them. They are the auto light plugs though, which are the ones that are notorious for failing. So let's hope that the rest of these 7 are as easy to get out as this one. Something that I read that was important is to smear anti-seize all over these things when you put them in. There's one down. All right, so this one is giving me some issues. I'm gonna move on to the next one just while I think of how we're gonna get to this one. These hard lines are in the way, and I need to kind of come up with the right variety of bits to get in there, and I haven't found them yet. So we'll just move on to the next one. Again, not bad at all. New one going back in. So this one, actually, if you take a closer look at it, I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to show you guys. It actually has kind of swelled a little bit at the tip. There we go, I got it, I think. There it went. All right, there's 3 down. Still got to figure out this one right down here, but I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the other side. This one's swelled a little bit too. This one's actually worth pulling out so that you guys can see. Look at that. So that makes me glad that I decided to do this. That could have turned into a major pain. Here's the next one. Again, kind of blocked by those lines. All right, I'm gonna need to wait on that one too, I think. This one I can get. So as you guys could probably see there, I had a little bit of trouble finding the hole. It's a mountain of rat shit tumbled in after the glow plug. All right, that's everybody except for the two that are underneath the fuel lines, and I need to go get like some 1/4-inch sockets for it or something. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna get to those yet. I know that you can get to them without pulling the hard lines off though, so hopefully it doesn't get that bad. All right, I'm back at it. My neighbor was kind enough to lend me one of these things, 1/4-inch swivel. And hopefully that is what we need to get in there. Yep. Can you guys see that? Little contraption I got going in there. There we go. That's all she needed. I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers. Again, I don't know if you can see at the end of my thumbnail there. Plug goes back on. All right, we got one plug left, and it's this one down here. I don't even know if you guys can see it. That's right. And there. I don't know if it's dumb, but it works. Is it still dumb? That is the next question. So what I've done here is just ball a bunch of tape up on the end of this screwdriver just so that it kind of has a little bit of an interference fit. All right, we're getting a little bit of turnage. Basically, all I got to do is get it down far enough where I can get the swivel back on. All right, now that we've got all 8 glow plugs replaced, what we're gonna do is we're gonna wire in the bypass switch. So basically, what I need to do is I need to make a new wire that is gonna fit on here, on this post. This wire is gonna go back into the cab through somewhere over there, and then into a switch on the dashboard that I wire in. And then from the switch, I'll go and I'll try to find a hot wire on the fuse panel down there that, you know, is only active when the ignition's turned on. I'm gonna take this thing out. Oh, God. As you can see, the rats have been making that thing their dinner. This is, I think, the relay for the lights on the bumper, and that's basically the same sort of wiring that we're going to do for this bypass switch. So right now what I've got to do is I've got to find a hole to the outside, to the engine compartment. Right now I'm not seeing anything super easy. There's this plug right here, which I suppose I could pop a hole through. I'm thinking about just, this is the lights up front. I'm thinking about just running it down through wherever that goes through. I'll grab some wire and we'll try fishing it through and see how that looks. All right, let's talk about a couple things. So I figured out where the bumper lights went through, and they basically went through right at this this little rubber thing. They just slid underneath the rubber. So I'm going to do the exact same thing for the glow plug switch that I'm going to put in. Now, I really wanted to put the glow plug switch here, but when you reach up back behind here, there's some sort of piece of plastic that's kind of in the way. So I think for the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on this thing. It's not going to quite look as pretty, but that's what we're going to do for now. All right, so I'm going to get this mystery wire that I found in my shed, and I'm going to push it through there, and we'll get it fished through up to the relay. You can see it right here. That's what we want. This is threaded, so I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ring terminal on there, and then I'll have to go find a little nut that'll fit it. All right, I found a mystery nut that fits. So now that we've got a wire going from the cab to the glow plug relay, all we got to do is we got to find power in this block down here, and we got to wire our switch in somewhere on the dashboard, which I still haven't quite figured out yet. What we can do in the meantime is figure out where we get power out of here. So I'll grab some batteries, I'll put them back in this thing, and we'll just cycle the key and use a multimeter to figure out which ones of these are hot when we turn the ignition on. Hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm doing here. You know, one goes to ground, the other's gonna go to, so that gives me 12 without the key on. That's nothing. So let's go ahead and turn the key on. All right, now we're getting 12 to this terminal right here.
So that's what we're going to tap into for our glow plug. See, because it says 12, right? And then when I get in here and turn the key off, we get nothing. Does that make sense? Electricity has never been my strong suit, but I feel like this is simple enough. If you guys have any questions about what I did there, just send me a comment or message or whatever. Basically what we're going to do now is that slot that had 12 volts is going to get one of these things. Then it's going to get a short wire that goes up into the switch. And then the wire that we already pulled through is also going to hook into the switch. We're back at it. My phone was running out of battery, so I had to run back in and put it on the charger. In the meantime, I pulled this little panel off. All it is 3 screws. And that kind of exposes what's underneath with the dashboard here. This is kind of the general vicinity in which I want to put that switch. It's not exactly where this hole is, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a Dremel, basically cut there, there, and there, and that should free up enough space on this thing to actually mount the switch. Got one of these little guys on my Dremel. We're going to just try to cut a square out there. So it's not the prettiest, but I'm hoping now I'll have enough room to stick this switch in here, which I should have plenty. I might actually cut just a little bit more so that this thing can fit in fine. But you guys don't need to see that. I'll do that on my own. I believe that for this switch we need a 5/8 drill. I don't think I have one of those handy at least, so we're gonna drill a 1/2-inch hole and then hog it out with the Dremel. I believe what we're gonna do is we're gonna wire this in first, and then we will stick it through here, make it look all nice. This is, again, the wire that goes to the relay, and we just want to make sure that we cut it long enough to get to the switch, so this will be plenty. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get power, and we're going to do that from that connection that I showed you guys earlier. Put this on. Plugged in there. And then all we got to do is make sure that there's enough wire to get up to the switch. Now we might have to change the orientation of these terminals just to fit better in there, but basically we should be all good to go. We're going to test it out before we get it mounted, and then when I press this thing, it should, there we go, beauty. So that's it. All we got left to do now is to mount it up in the dashboard here and put the dash back together. And of course I'll give you guys a courtesy turn it over and start it. So let's do it. There we go. Looks good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble the dashboard here. So I'm a sucker for labels, and I think that these label makers are cool. So we're gonna make one that says glow plugs. Boom, there you go. A nice little old school label. All right. I got one more bonus item for you guys that I'm gonna do today. And that is, I'm gonna replace this relay here. And as much as I enjoy having this anti-theft device here for my ignition, I do want to actually be able to turn it on with a key. So let's do it. This unit has a little bit different orientation than the last one, but that should be all that we need to actually start it with the key. I mean, fingers crossed. Ignition on, glow plugs. And well, the key works now. Oh, we got a fuel leak. Look at that. That's how you know it's working good. Well, there we have it. It runs. The key works. That's cool. One thing that I promised to you guys that I haven't done yet is the total price rundown. So like I said before, we started at, I think, $11.50 from part 2. And I spent $55 on the set of glow plugs. The glow plug relay, this one here, was $15, and the starter relay was $25. So that puts us to $95 about. And with the glow plug switch that I put in on the dashboard, I'm just gonna call it a even 100. I don't think that thing was more than $5. Yeah, so that puts our total up to $12.50 for this project, and we pretty much got a running, almost viable truck. I'll put a link in the description to that switch that I bought on Amazon so that you guys can do this project. And I'll also put a link to that label maker because for some reason people are enthralled with those things. All right, there you go. That took a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but what automotive project doesn't. We did glow plugs, we did the glow plug bypass switch, we put in a new relay for the glow plugs, we also put in a new relay for the starter, the key works, everything's good. We got fuel spewing out of here, so that's gonna be something that I fix next time. I also have some ideas about why we've been having hard starts in this thing. So if you want to see what I come up with, you're going to have to tune in for part 4, because I think this is going to be the last big item that needs to be fixed before we do like a full fluid change. And yeah, then I'm going to take it out for a shakedown run and go get out into the woods. So yeah, you're not going to want to miss it. All right, thanks for watching. Tune in next time.